All right, in this lesson, we're going to be looking at 3 more laws of exponents. In the previous video, we looked at the fractional exponents. We've also looked at negative exponents and zero exponents. But today, we will be looking at the product rule, the quotient rule, and the power rule. So just a quick review, the product rule, if we remember, says that, let's do this in orange, that a raised to the power of m times a raised to the power of n is equal to a raised to the power of m plus n. If we have the same bases and we're multiplying, we just add the exponents. The quotient rule is quite similar. It says a to the power of m divided by a to the power of n is equal to a raised to the power of m minus n. And here you can see that if we have the same base and we divide, then we would just be subtracting our exponents. And the last rule we'll look at is the power rule. This says that a to the power of m, if all of that is raised to the power of n, that is equal to a raised to the power of m times n. So let's just jump right into it. So let's look at our first example. We have 4 to the power of 7 times 4 to the power of negative 2. So let's think. Which rule are we using? Well, we have a multiplication sign and we have the same bases, so we know we are using the product rule. So, same base, so 4 to the power of 7 plus a negative 2, and that equals 4 to the power of 5. And if we want to completely solve it, 4 raised to the power of 5 is equal to 1024. Okay, so let's look at our next example. So here we have 3 to the power of 6 divided by 3 to the power of 4. Well, again, we can see that we have the same base and we have a division sign. So this is going to be our quotient rule. So this one's pretty straightforward. Base of 3, 6 minus 4 is equal to 3 squared, which equals to 9. So we've already used the product rule and the quotient rule. I'm sure you can guess what we will do next. So in this example, we have 2 to the power of 3, and we're going to raise all of this to the power of 4. We have one base and we have a power raised to a power, so we know this is our power rule. So to solve this, we can just rewrite 2 to the power of 3 times 4, which is equal to 2 to the power of 12, which is equal to 4096. So let's take a look at an example that involves this rule, but also the fractional exponent rule that we used in our previous video. What if we have 2 raised to the power of 1/2, and all of this is raised to the power of 8? Well, it's still the power rule, so we just take our base, and then we have 1/2 times 8. Well, we know 1/2 times 8 is equal to 4, and 2 raised to the power of 4 is equal to 16. So let's look at a couple of more difficult examples that involve fractional exponents, the power rule, the product rule, and the quotient rule all in one question. Let's take 16 and raise it to the power of 4 over 3. And we will multiply this by 16 raised to the power of 1 over 2. And let's divide all of this by 16 raised to the power of 1 over 3. Well, we can see here that we have the same base all around, so that makes it easier for us. We also have a multiplication sign here. And this bar here is a fraction bar, which means divide. So we have all three rules in one. So when working these out, I like to just work the numerator out first and then the denominator. If we work out the numerator, we have 16 to the 4 over 3 plus 1/2. Now, we need to make our fractions the same so we can add them. Our common denominator is 6 times 2, 8 over 6 plus 3 over 6, which is equal to 11 over 6. And we're going to put all that over 16 over 1 over 3. So we worked out our numerator. Now we have 16 to the power of 11 over 6 over 16 to the power of 1/3. The same rules apply here. It's a division sign, so we will subtract our exponents. So we have 16 of 11 over 6 minus 1 over 3rd. 11 over 6 minus 2 over 6 is equal to 9 over 6, which if we reduce this down gives us 3 over 2. So we end up with 16 raised to the power of 3 over 2. So now we have single base raised to a fractional exponent. So our numerator is 2, so that means we will take the square root of 16 and raise it all to the power of 3. So the square root of 16 is 4. 4 to the power of 3 is equal to 64. And there you have it. That is a quick lesson on the product rule, the quotient rule, and the power rule of exponents. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, please leave me a like. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will try to get back to them as soon as possible. I will see you next lesson. Until then, have a good day.